Okay, we are live. So, my name is Nicki Conner. I am the co owner of Legacy Real Estate Team here in Lake Jackson, Texas. I am also a member of the Mega Agent Collective, and I'm excited to be one of the podcast hosts for the next several months. And today I have my friend Ashley Francis. She has the Coach of Freedom. Sorry, she's an emotion code coach, and her website is the Coach of Freedom. And I'm really excited to be speaking with her. I want to tell y'all a little bit about how we got to know each other. Um, so I have been on a journey learning about emotional health and mental health and all of those things. And really, that's a topic that's not discussed much. I feel like it's starting to be discussed more because people are looking for answers to the issues they're having, and what they've been doing isn't working. And so I was already on this journey. And then back in December, Ashley and I were introduced by a mutual friend. And I had a session with her, and it really, really blessed me. So I, like many people, especially my age, were taught, and older than me, were taught that, we just need to suck it up. We just need to deal with it, which that is kind of an oxymoron, I think, like to suck it up and deal with it, because you either deal with it or you suck it up. And you're not supposed to dwell on issues or just fix it. Just figure it out, Yeah. And all of those years of sucking it up and not taking the time to deal with my emotions, to really figure out what was going on, was really causing me a lot of issues physically and mentally. And I really didn't know what to do about it, but the Lord was gracious and just started giving me different books, different studies, different things, putting people in my life that were helping me to learn how to deal with my issues. And when I met Ashley, I was in a season that, honestly, it's the most difficult season I have ever been in. And though I was learning and like I said, on that journey already, when I met with Ashley, she brought to mind and helped me see some things that I just did not see, things that I did not believe about myself and about how God saw me and all of those things. And so that really catapulted me to be able to enter the season that I'm coming into now. And so since then, we have just had several opportunities to talk and work together. Yes. And so when I was asked to do this podcast, the first thing that I wanted to talk about was this, because it's something, especially in our industry, I feel like realtors especially, and I know this is not everyone, but when they don't, if they haven't dealt with their issues, and then we come into this high demand job and we have emotional clients and emotional people around us, then we can get caught up in it too. And it just spirals out of control. And on top of the fact that we don't set boundaries in our work, we answer the phone in the middle of a conversation with other people. I feel like we need to be stopped and here, let's rework all of this. And so anyway, I just felt like this is a super important topic to discuss. And Ashley, I'm going to give the floor to you and tell us kind of what you do, how you got started, and how you can help us.
Absolutely. Well, we all need help. And that's how I came into Emotion Code, was I needed help. My beautiful sister-in-law, her name is Alyssa Francis, she actually introduced me to a book called The Emotion Code. And it was funny because she was kind of like, I don't know what you're going to think about this. You might think it's weird, but, it helped me. Maybe it can help you. And basically what it is it's a book that teaches that everybody holds on to stuff. We call them trapped emotions. We've gone through hard times. We've gone through trauma. We've gone through stress. We all just went through COVID and still going through it, if you will. And so we just pack on all of this anxious anxiety stuff, stress, depression, anger, whatever the emotion is. And when you hold on to that, it builds up. And then it builds up. And then it builds up. And eventually you can have this, you come to this place where am I crazy? I've never felt this way before. Am I having a nervous breakdown? Right. And sometimes yes. And sometimes you just have to offload. So
Yeah.
what emotion code does is it helps people to offload. It releases what we call trapped emotions. It's one of those things you kind of have to experience it because it's hard to explain what it is, but I'm going to do my best to explain it as quickly and as elementary as possible because it really is a simple process.
Yes.
But everything has a vibration. When you think of the word love and you dwell on love, you start to feel a little lighter. You might smile a little bit. Your body
Mm-hmm.
responds to that emotion of love. Well, the same is true for a negative emotion. If you think of, let's use the word stress because it's prevalent right now.
Mm-hmm.
If you think of stress, you might get a little tense and you think of all the to do list that you have to do, the different clients you got to get to, and this or that, and your body responds and it becomes almost rigid and tight.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you hold on to an emotion, you're going to attract more of that emotion you're holding on to. So, what I love about emotion code is it targets the negative emotions, kicks them out so that you're not attracting all of that stuff. And you said it so beautifully. Then you can see yourself as you really are
Mm-hmm.
instead of as you think you are or your
Right.
stressed state. So, when I work with people, it is literally identifying trapped emotions. Hey, you're holding on to anxiety. And I go back to anxiety because that is so prevalent right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the number one emotion that I'm seeing with my
Mm-hmm.
clients is I've never had panic attacks before and all of a sudden I'm having panic attacks. What's
Mm-hmm.
going on? And it's just this overload of negative emotions that we pack
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, for sure. And especially in real estate, like I said,
Mm.
our clients are anxious. Is a lot of times we're dealing with multiple transactions. So it's a domino effect. If this deal doesn't work out, then this next one isn't going to. And people could be homeless. And so
Oh
it's our
gosh.
job is very stressful because we are helping people with one of the biggest purchases of their lives. And if
Yes.
something falls through, then our client could be homeless. And so it is a
Mm.
lot of pressure. And I feel like when we don't have our own emotions,
Mm-hmm.
if we're not dealing with them correctly, then when our client is freaking out, then that just causes us to as well. And so
Yeah.
that's something that has been so huge. And I talk to new agents all the time who are like, how do I not get involved in my client's emotion? And I'm like, you
Mm.
just have to learn, so is there something you could give us that, when they are in those type of situations, what they can do just on their own in that moment to kind of bring themselves down to keep from having that panic attack?
Absolutely. So, objectivity is probably your best friend when you are dealing with a high stress environment or a high stress person, maybe, or maybe a high demand, or let's just say average, but the pressure is so intense.
Mm-hmm.
Take a moment, and I'm a breathwork coach as well. So, take a moment, and you don't have to do this like in front of somebody, but take a moment and breathe and really start to assess the situation from an objective standpoint, as though
Mm-hmm.
you're outside of your own body. Okay, what is going on here? And then acknowledge I have every right to be stressed right now. I have every right to be angry, but I'm going to choose to look at this objectively. I'm going to choose to slow down. So, emotions are meant to move us, to drive us. It's actually really, really good fuel. So if you see yourself stressed, you're in a you can turn this around for your advantage. You're in a pretty good situation, believe it or not. Take that stress energy and turn it around to fuel to where, okay, I'm going to go after this and I'm going to achieve this goal and I'm going to achieve this goal and I'm going to use this energy to help drive the goals that I need for my client or
Mm-hmm.
for myself. But objectivity is your best friend. You got to step out, acknowledge the emotion that you're feeling. Don't bury it,
Mm-hmm.
don't stuff it down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm stressed right now. I'm stressed. Okay, breathe that out and then pivot. Choose a different emotion.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds easier said than done, but the more you practice that,
Mm-hmm.
the easier it becomes, the more you are able to do it. But
Yeah.
think of it as stop, assess, or what am I feeling? And then pivot. I'm going to choose something else.
Yeah.
Some people call it the choose again. I'm going to choose this instead. And then you might
Mm-hmm.
have to choose it again. Okay, oops, I got back into stress. I'm going to choose to be at peace again. And you just keep going. The last
Right.
thing I'm going to say with that, I know I'm being long-winded,
Oh, you're
is
fine.
judgment. Don't judge yourself for accidentally slipping back into a past behavior.
Mm-hmm.
When we do that, when we're critical on ourselves, then we perpetuate the negative emotion. You have got to be gentle with, you have got to be gentle with yourself. You have got to be kind and loving towards your energy because you're getting so much stress and bombarded from every direction.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have enough of that peaceful frequency happening or that love frequency happening for ourselves.
Yeah, I found that to be true as well. And I'll take that a step further, that once you are able to, get yourself to a place where you can think, then I say, okay, what's the worst thing that could happen?
Mm, that's good.
And then walk through that. Okay, well, if my client is homeless, then I can get them a hotel or, whatever. Like, then you go into problem solving mode. Okay, if this,
Good.
then what are we going to do? If this happens,
Right.
what are we going to do? And what I've learned in the few years I've been in this business and the different things that have come up is that there is a solution to every problem.
Oh,
So when I
yes.
stop freaking out about it and just go, okay, what do we need to do?
Mm-hmm.
Then I can think more clearly about what the next step is. And then when I have options to give my buyer or seller or the other agent,
Mm-hmm.
then that, you know, then it's not such a big problem. And I've also found that typically when I am scared that the other person is going to just completely freak out,
Mm-hmm.
they typically don't. Or whatever
Mm-hmm.
I'm concerned about how this is going to go, it typically doesn't. It's not as bad as what I think it's going to be,
Yes,
So,
yes. We always blow it up in our heads, right? And
right.
that's the fear emotion taking over.
Mm-hmm.
Fear magnifies everything.
Yeah,
And you got to squash it by, like what you
absolutely.
said, it's not that bad. It's not that big of a deal. I have options. Let's
Mm-hmm.
look at the options.
Yeah, for
Good
sure.
point.
So, do you see a trend with people in high demand occupations being more susceptible to these emotional breakdowns and issues?
Oh, there has been a surge, especially in the last 2 years. So we
Mm-hmm.
are meant to be around others. We are meant to
Mm-hmm.
be that. When you're isolated and you are left alone with your own thoughts and you don't have a sounding board, then, like I said, that fear magnifies. Negative emotions also magnify
Mm-hmm.
the stress or just the challenges that you're going through. So there has definitely been an increase. And even in young people, we're
Yeah.
seeing an increase where I'm going to use your words, they're not able to get over it like we
Mm-hmm.
were able to get over it. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing,
Right.
but it's just there's so much more. And what you
Yeah.
said, high demand, this level that we are all trying to achieve. Is it realistic? Maybe, maybe not, but it is definitely causing a lot of stress at younger ages and at the older ages.
Yeah. Yeah, I have definitely felt more stress in the past few years because I am also I'm very much a people person. I'm very
Mhm,
extroverted. And so
mhm.
when the first, quarantine 15 days, that we had, I was scared to death that we were never going to be able to have people again. And
I
so,
know.
just that alone. And then when you add in all the pressures of your job and all those things could be very stressful. And so I am just incredibly thankful. And I believe the
Mhm,
Lord has sent you to me and to
mhm,
my viewers today. I know that there's someone who needed to hear what you have to say because I have seen a difference in the way that I handle situations now, where
mhm,
before I was living in a perpetual state of stress. I was not enjoying my life. I was
mhm.
constantly working. And as I began to go down this path of dealing with emotions, it's also helped me to realize what's truly important. And so
Yes.
now I'm able to set boundaries and I'm spending more time just resting and just being without my phone or something in my ear all the time. And that has been huge for my emotional health, just to
Oh,
have
yeah.
times of rest. And so, yeah, that's been huge.
You hit the nail on the head. Our culture is about hurry, about rush.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get this now. You got to get this now. You got to get this now. You cannot waste time. Time is of the essence. So
Yes.
we are primed to move fast, to think fast, to not double, but to multitask, to do
Mm-hmm.
multiple things at the same time. And eventually our bodies are like, whoa, 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 I need to breathe. I need to breathe. One of my favorite things that I say when I work with people, and it's actually found in the word, is be still. Be
Mm-hmm.
still. Rest. Take a moment. Put the phone down. I
Mm-hmm.
am the worst. I will be doing like the dishes while I'm trying to watch a podcast or listen to something to encourage me, and got the kids' homework going on over here. Like I'm the worst at that.
Mm-hmm.
But we are not designed for that. We are
No.
designed to slow down, to have a steady pace. Maybe not a
Mm-hmm.
slow pace, but a steady pace. And you have to ask
Right.
yourself, am I feeling rushed? Am I feeling hurried? And sometimes it's appropriate and we need to be rushed and hurried. And other times it's not. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to argue and say that we are being hurried way more than we should, and that we are moving in that vibration way more than we should.
Yeah,
So taking a
absolutely.
moment to stop and to breathe and to just for a moment is very impactful for your
Mm-hmm.
energy.
Yeah, for sure. And I've also found that as I have slowed myself down,
Mm-hmm.
everything is going way better than when I was trying to strive and do everything on my own.
Go
I
figure.
was trying so hard to make all these things happen. And
Yeah.
as I've stopped and really just being obedient to the Lord, doing what He has asked me to do, because we live in this hustle culture. And
Mm-hmm.
about a year ago, my business partner Kristen and I said we're canceling the hustle culture. There's a guy that we were
Yes.
listening to was talking about that, and we really realized how that is a very toxic thing to say. You've got to
Absolutely.
hustle and work harder and do more and just constantly. And especially as women, we have fought so hard to have
Mm-hmm.
all the same rights as men and do everything. And,
Mm-hmm.
and yes, there are definitely some things that needed to change, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, we have really shot ourselves in the foot,
Oh yeah.
because now we are bosses, but we're still moms and we're still wives and we still have all the responsibilities we did before. So we just added more to
Yeah.
our plate.
Yeah.
And then when you add in the hustle culture, no
Yeah.
wonder we're stressed and short-tempered with our children and
Oh
our
yeah.
families, and divorces at a higher rate, because we are
Mm-hmm.
not taking the time to deal with things and enjoy our life and all of that. So yeah,
Yeah.
that has been my theme this year, is just to slow down and have margin in
Good.
my life. And it's
Yes.
a really wonderful thing, because before I had FOMO all the time. I wanted to be constantly busy, constantly. I would fill
Mm-hmm.
up every minute of my day, and
Mm-hmm.
then I would get sick and have to
Mm-hmm.
cancel everything and be in bed for a few days. And so now that I'm learning to have time that
Yes.
is not planned out and scheduled, it's been really, really amazing.
It's
So
weird, right? It's weird to slow down. For me, when
it
I
is.
started, I didn't know what to do with myself. Like, I should be doing something right now.
Mm-hmm.
This
Yeah.
doesn't feel normal. This doesn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
So you almost have to talk yourself into, hey, it's okay. This is normal. This is right. This is what we should be doing.
Yes, absolutely. And like I said, it's amazing to see how much more gets done, or
Mm-hmm.
how much more, how much better my business is doing as I have taken a step back. That's been
Yes.
the most exciting thing. So,
Absolutely.
okay, give my listeners just a little, like, okay, if they can't work with you, or maybe they're not ready to take that
Mhm.
step, how do they get started
Yeah.
with learning how to deal with their emotions?
That's a great question. And I said it earlier, and I'm going to reiterate it and go a little deeper.
Okay.
Acknowledge what you're feeling. A lot of times we're just like, nope, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. So we push our emotions down, or we will just not address it.
Mm-hmm.
Emotions are like children sometimes, and you can probably hear mine. I'm a mom of 5, and they're all downstairs.
Oh, wow.
They want to be acknowledged.
Mm-hmm.
Emotions need to be acknowledged. Oftentimes, just acknowledging the emotion allows that thing to be released off of you. If you ignore it or don't acknowledge it, then it has the propensity to build up. So the very first thing I tell anybody that I work with, or not necessarily everybody I work with, but one of the things that I highly recommend is acknowledge what you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
You're not alone in feeling that. You're not crazy in feeling that. You have every right to feel what you're feeling in most cases. And if you don't, that's okay too. Still
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge it. I don't have a right to feel this way, but I'm feeling this way.
Mm-hmm.
That in itself, my lights keep going off. That in itself will release so much for the person and for your
Mm-hmm.
energy. So that's the first step. If you cannot work with an emotion code practitioner or a counselor or a therapist or whatever, have a journal or some type of outlet that says, hey, I'm feeling this. I'm feeling this. And
Mm-hmm.
this is what I did even before I was an emotion code practitioner. I have always been a journaler. I love to write. So writing is my thing. So it's easy for me. It might not be yours, but if it is yours, or if you can do this, I recommend this. Write to yourself or write to God. I'll write to God. Dear God, I'm having a crummy day. This is what's going on. I'm stressed out. My hair is starting to fall out. Yada, 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 yada. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
put it all on there. And then I will have him write back to me. Hey, dear Ashley, this is what my thoughts are towards you. And I don't know if I'm really hearing from him or not, or whatever, but it comes from a positive, loving vibration.
Mm-hmm.
So then when I absorb those words, my energy shifts, my energy changes. So I highly recommend, if any of you are out there listening, write to yourself or to the Lord or to whomever, state everything that you're feeling. Let it all out on that paper, and then write back to yourself what you would say to encourage you or to lift you up. And you'd be surprised at the wisdom that starts flowing from you.
Mm-hmm.
That has,
Well, yeah, even writing scripture. I know when we worked together, most of what you do, you are just speaking scripture over us. And that is so powerful. I mean, that is the number one way the Lord speaks to us is through his word.
absolutely. Words have a frequency and a vibration. Everything does. This table
Mm-hmm.
has it. The phone
Right.
that we're talking in has it. Everything has a frequency and a vibration. Words are the same. I almost want to say that they're heavier or more impactful.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I believe something about myself, let's just say I believe a lie. Oh, you're so dumb. You're so dumb. You're so dumb. Then I'm going to behave and I'm going to be weighed down by that. And my actions are going to reflect dumb.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm going to say something positive, let's say something scriptural, where, hey, you are so wise. You are wise. You have wisdom working in you.
Yes.
Then I am going to make choices that line up to wisdom that's going to allow me to be successful, which is why I love going to the word for affirmations and for words to speak over people.
Yeah.
They bring life.
Mm-hmm.
They take the lie and push it out.
Yeah, absolutely. When I first started, trying to have healthy emotions, it's funny because I would think, well, I don't need to get upset about this. Like I just need to just not have an emotion. So I took it a
Mm.
little too, I kind of do that. I kind of tend to go a little extreme one way and then kind of level out in the middle later
Yeah.
on. And so,
Yeah.
but then I realized that wasn't what it was, that yes, you can have the emotion. You just don't continue to let it eat at you. And so one thing
Yes.
that Kristen has been telling me, because she knows how I am, she'll say, now make sure you take time to have your emotion, like
I
to
love
to have
that.
it and sit in it.
Yes.
And that has been the most helpful thing for me, because then I'm able to let it go. And
Mm-hmm.
what's really funny is, especially with other people, people can say things flippantly, or maybe they're having a bad day and they say something in a way that just really rubs you the wrong way. And I've noticed that as I take the time to be like, you know what, they were really a jerk and I'm mad about that and it
Yeah.
upset me. And then,
Yeah.
sometimes I have to go write it down or pray about it. Most of the time, if not every time, that person has come back later and been softer or apologized or,
Interesting.
whatever. So it's been really neat to see that happening as well. And I'm not saying that's always going to happen. A
Sure.
lot of times it's not, but it's been neat to see how me dealing with it and then letting it go,
Mm-hmm.
many times they have come back and I've seen them in a different way or whatever. So,
Oh, absolutely. When we hold on to that anger, that frustration, that resentment, that
mm-hmm,
bitterness, whatever it may be, that's poison for us.
Yeah.
So I like how you do that. You know what? I'm going to pray about this. I'm going to let this go. And then you're releasing that poison off of you. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. That's a good tip.
Absolutely. Okay. So tell us, how can we book an appointment with you and what types? I know you have a couple of different things that you offer. So tell us
Yeah.
what you offer.
Yeah, absolutely. As an emotion code practitioner, my most common service that I offer is emotion code, either a 30-minute session or an hour session. And what you can expect with that is a conversation. We're going to talk, I'm going to get to know you just a little bit. And then I will do a technique that's called muscle testing to test for different trapped emotions you may be holding on to. And then we'll talk about that. Hey, I'm picking up on this around this time frame. Does anything come up for you? And some people like me, I'm like, I don't remember yesterday. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
going. So I don't remember, but that feels right. That seems right. Let's release. Other people are like encyclopedias and they'll give you a whole, oh yeah, this was happening at this time, da 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 da. So
Right.
no matter what camp you fall on, whether you remember or don't remember, we can still release that energy. Another service that I offer, which is probably my favorite service right now, is breath work. And
Mm.
that's becoming more increasingly popular as well as the word is getting out with breath work. And that's where we incorporate breathing into emotional release. And you've walked through that with me before. And we'll have like a
Yes.
guided meditation with it. And then a time for you to just to hear, just to stop and just to hearing words of encouragement, hearing words of empowerment, hearing words of healing. And that again is probably my favorite part of the breathwork session.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying a thing, then that's what's so crazy about it. It's because you're
Yeah.
connecting with a higher power that is filling you up with what you need. And we
Yeah.
don't take the time to do that. We don't take the
Mm-mm.
time to be still and know that I am God and I've got you. And I know the plans I have for you. They're plans to
Mm-hmm.
prosper you, to give you a hope in the future. So when we tap into that, it is absolutely life changing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then I also offer life coaching as well. And I
Awesome.
try to mix my life coaching into my sessions anyways. So
Mm-hmm.
you're really getting life coaching in any arena that you choose. But some people want full-fledged life coaching. And if I do that, then I'll also incorporate emotion code or breath work. So they're all intermingled
Right.
because I want to hit every angle. I want to have a holistic approach as much as I can.
Yeah. That's awesome. And yes, I have done a few breathwork sessions with you. And what I also love is that there have been times where we have gone, we have made an appointment for a session
Mhm.
planning to do one thing. And then when we get there and start talking, we realize that that's really not what the Lord wants to do. And so I
Yeah.
love that you are so sensitive to the Holy Spirit, sensitive to what he wants to do. And just, man, it's been great for me. And there have been times where I go in thinking I'm good,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
I'm fine. And then something comes up that I didn't even realize was still an issue. And so that
Mhm.
that has been huge. And so yes, I encourage all of you to reach out to Ashley and we will put her link.
Yeah.
What's your website? Tell me again. I think I
Yeah,
know.
thecodetofreedom.com. I'm actually reworking it so it'll be up and live in the next 2 weeks again. And I can give you a
Perfect.
scheduling link as well
Okay.
anytime.
Yeah. So you can schedule with her there and see all her different options. And of course, if you would like to talk to me, I know many people on here know me personally. So if you want to talk to me a little bit more about, my journey and how Ashley's helped me, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. So the last thing before we go, I want to ask you a little
Mhm.
personal question.
Yeah.
So, what
Like,
is the book?
ooh.
I guess it's not that personal, but what book do you recommend the most or gift to people the most?
Ooh, that is a good question. That is a really good question. One of my favorite books, and it's almost like Christianity 101, but it's called Destined to Reign by
Hmm.
Joseph Prince.
Okay.
And it taught me what true faith looked like. Not
Mm.
religious, but true faith.
Hmm.
And how we are empowered, we are
Yeah.
favored to be successful at life.
Mm-hmm.
with the Lord's blessing. So
Yeah.
I like that book a lot. There's so many. I'm like, I don't know which one to go. But I would probably start there because it's foundational truths that we might not realize that our foundation has cracks in it. And it helped
Mm-hmm.
me to seal up the cracks that I had in my own life.
Awesome. Yeah, I haven't heard of that one, and I'm an avid reader. So, okay, give me one more since you have so many. What's the number two?
If you want to learn about emotion code, I highly recommend the emotion code book.
Okay.
It will teach you how to do emotion code for yourself. So if you can't get in with a session, it'll teach you. And it's really fun to see the science behind it. And I'm a science geek. I know just enough science to make myself look like I don't know any science, because you try to talk the language and you're like, I don't quite know what verbiage to use with this. But it
Right.
teaches you the science behind it, and it has a ton of testimonials. And then it teaches you how to do emotion code for yourself. Now, you're not certified. You still need to go get the
Right.
certification. But highly recommend the emotion code. Anybody that wants to have a session, I recommend reading the book. You don't
Awesome.
have to if you want to have a session, but it is very helpful too.
Right. Great. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so happy that you were my first guest. I just, like I said, I love how the Lord has just brought us together. He crossed our paths in a really weird way. And again, just you being sensitive to the Holy Spirit is what brought us together in the first place. So, guys watching, please reach out to Ashley if you have any questions. She just has a wealth of knowledge, and I know that she could help you so much. And thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next month.
Bye.
Bye.